engineering innovation, and that is Alice Radley. So I will start with Mr. Yunga. We call you Mr. Yunga here. Good morning to you, Anatoly.
Thank you. Good morning to you, and good to host us here at NTV. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Yes, it is. And good morning to you, Alice.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
It's a pleasure. Now, Mr. Yunga, please tell us more about Yunga. This app comes to be a savior in such a time as this, when we've had lots of security issues. Most recently, what happened in Kasese, the security alert from UK. We've been having attacks on our police stations as of last year. So Yunga seems to be a security solution for us today.
Yeah, and thank you so much for giving Yunga yet another opportunity to tell our story on how we intend to make communities safe. So Yunga, basically, we are connecting a neighbor to a neighbor and a neighbor to law enforcement in case of an attack or an emergency. And this is personal to me and personal to other directors that we work with at Yunga. It was just 6 months within my first employment. I had worked, you know, the first job gives you an opportunity to buy whatever you want in your home, and then after 6 months you've gone away from your home. I come from Masaka, and then it was Christmas season. Then I received a phone call from one of my neighbors, say, "Hi Anatoly, your home is actually swept clean, you've been robbed." And as any other Ugandan, it's typical, you freeze. It's a bad experience. You start thinking of where to get the next money to actually get back onto your feet. And that was what happened to me, just like many Ugandans that face the same challenge. But because I'd done computer science, I had a lot of software engineering knowledge. I started to grow up around to understand how I could actually leverage my skills to actually create a solution. And that was the birth of Yunga. And where it started. So it started way back in 2018, 2019, and we started with a very simple mobile app, like you said. How could we now use this app to connect police and neighbors? But the app, like you said initially, it failed because you're sleeping, you don't have connection, and then again, remember, when I was robbed, I was not actually home. So it was very evident that we needed to find a digital askari or a digital security person that we can automate to give protection to these households and also ourselves. So that is how we came up with Yunga. Yeah.
Okay, so taken a case study of I live in Najanankombi. How exactly does it operate in Najanankombi?
Yeah, so I'll take this as a call to people in Najanankombi, is that now if they want us to go to their area and give them this extra layer of security that they deserve, that is manned by the community and the law enforcement integrated, we will definitely speak to maybe the leader, the local council person would always give us a very good intro, and we will organize them in groups of about 10 to 40 homes, and each home will be given a Yunga gadget, a Yunga device, and this device, once connected in your home, it has a button that can, when you push it, it can send message to all these other devices in your community that there is an attack at Anatoly's home. This same message in the same period of time. Okay,
just pause it right there. So if I press the green button, because I've seen the gadget, it has a red and green button. Yeah, so if I press the green button, it's going to send signals to the other subscribers on the Yunga connection. And does it specify that the alert is coming from my house?
Thank you. It will actually specify that the name of the household leader, the road or the address, and the phone number. To make it very interesting, the officers at the response side, they also have a mobile app that has GPS coordinates that can actually route them to the exact location. Yes.
Okay, so speaking of officers, the ones and communities that you have connected so far, I understand you have now 1,000 connections, over 1,000 connections. With the police enforcement on the side, what has been the response and the reactions of the police enforcement?
Yeah, so I think for us, we are very happy to say that when we started this innovation, we understood that it was important to build it and prove that it is a tool that can actually work. And at a given point, we reached somewhere, and then we had to actually, we were contacted by the research center in Chikandwa, which is one of the biggest research center with the police, and we took another research to understand how this can potentially actually fit into the police mechanism. And then when we go to these police stations, we discuss with them and understand what are some of the challenges they face. Number one is that they have always been finding it very difficult to locate a household or a member in the community that has crime. There's a lot of response issues. You cannot call the police officer in that locality. There's a queue. If you're very many people that are calling at the same time, your phone will always be lost in the middle. So they found it very interesting that people now don't need to complain about having internet access, airtime. They just push a button and then the screen at the police station will actually reveal the household that is actually being victimized at the moment. So they are working closely with the neighbors to ideally respond. Even when we know that police may take longer for some reasons, it could be that they have taken very difficult situation to really route where you are, but the members are constantly working with the police to let them know exactly where the location is. But you know, Yunga works as one of the hugest deterrent tool in communities. So even before police comes, we've already seen about 180 cases being prevented just by sending these alerts across these homes. So it's a big addition that even before police comes to the location, we've actually done a lot of work in resolving this.
Final question, just to deeper understand before we go to Alice. In terms of response, one of the issues that police has always had is response in real time. And then the other issue is, you know, resources to have that response in time. For example, they will say they don't have fuel in the vehicle to get to you know, the concerned house at in the real time. So how has Yunga actually managed to mitigate those challenges on the law enforcement side?
No, it's 100%, and I cannot really authoritatively discuss about the resources, but I know that they are doing everything possible. We've also seen beautiful communities such as Chuatuli that are called community-based policing. So these police stations are together with the community, and they apply to the government, and then the government allocates them these police stations. So such community members have been very instrumental in leveraging the community policing model, not only to work together but also to give key resources to these police stations in terms of response. And in areas where I've seen a lot of success, we know that the community can also set up a few resources to see that this really comes a very big success. But what I can say is that those are things that we know that are happening, and the government is doing a lot of work to improve resources and all that. But what we are saying is that before it is gone to 100% improved, how do we create tools that can enable these communities to deter the criminals even before the issue of fuel comes in? And that's where Yunga actually stands in to quickly offer this line of response. Yes.
All right. As rightly told, 180, that's the number of cases that through Yunga Technologies, number of crimes that has been able to be disengaged as far as subscription is concerned in the different communities. So it's a positive thing in which we are definitely looking to the success of technological innovation. Now, turning to you, Alice, when you look at the Royal Academy of Engineering, how exactly does the UK initiative actually focus on Africa, and why the focus on Africa and technology and innovation?
So at the Royal Academy of Engineering, there's tons of different programs and different opportunities working on a variety of things, so from like academia to innovation and entrepreneurship, which is specific to the Africa Prize, also kind of policy for government and that sort of thing. So the Africa Prize for Engineering was started 9 years ago, and it was because there was a gap seen within the Academy's programs, which is kind of very international. So the Academy believes that local opportunities and challenges should be solved by locals. So completely like Anatoly here with his innovation for security in Uganda. So over the last 9 years, we've supported 130 different businesses from over 20 different countries across the continent. You know, engineering is everywhere, so it's looking at every single aspect of life. You know, housing, food, agriculture, transport. So we've seen like a really inspirational and...
Could you share with us specific testimonials towards Engineering Award and the impact?
Yeah, of course. So as we're in Uganda, I'll speak about Brian with Matibabu. So that was a world first. That was a bloodless malaria testing kit, which obviously has a huge impact. It's a lot quicker, it's more affordable, like a really fantastic kind of medical innovation that's come out of Uganda. Another kind of medical-based one would be a line vein locator, which is a small device which can kind of map where veins are, particularly in children, on the skin, to save kind of doctors time and also pain and discomfort for the patient in trying to, find the vein, which can always be a challenge.
Does it also work for adults?
It also works for adults. I think they particularly use it for children, but for adults as well. So that's just kind of medical ones in Uganda. There's also kind of smart housing. So we have Anne from Smart Havens Africa, and she's created these sustainable smart homes, which are specifically designed to help women with a kind of rent-to-own model. All the materials used are kind of locally made. They teach local workers how to kind of build these houses. So there's training incorporated as well. There's innovations from Uganda in solar energy, vertical farms to help with kind of urban crop growing. Other innovations, we've had a device that harvests drinking water just using the moisture in the air. Dressing systems, the diversity in innovations that we've had through the programme is really incredible. And one of the reasons I'm here in Uganda is because, so we've had 16 of those 130 businesses have been from Uganda. Wow. But applications for our 10th year of the Africa Prize are closing on Tuesday the 25th of July, so in a couple of days. And we're really excited and hopeful that we'll have more innovators from Uganda, and particularly women innovators as well. We'd really love to encourage to apply.
Okay, which begs the question, what's the criteria, what's the procedure, what are you looking out for, what level should these startups be at for them to actually be able to then sign up for this prize?
Of course. So we're looking for early stage startups, so you have to have a product and be beyond idea stage, but you don't necessarily have to be making, earning money, making revenue. So what we're looking for really is engineering solutions that are really innovative and different, and that can have a really large impact initially within the local community, and then hopefully be expanded throughout the kind of the business's life. So you have to be based in Africa. You have to be over the age of 18. You have to have this early stage business or startup. Our definition of engineering is a very broad one. So maybe you've understood from some of the examples I've given, but there's software, there's hardware, there's medtech, agritech. We've even had a music app in the past. So a huge kind of variety. And when you apply for the Africa Prize, deadline on the 20th of July, there's a very rigorous kind of selection process, and 16 innovators are selected from across the continent. So, for example, this year we had 10 different countries represented, so it makes for a really nice new kind of network of different innovators, all working on slightly different things, but still lots and lots of value there. And they go through this 8-month program. There's a fully funded week residential in London where you start.
So the program is a build-up to the prize awarding.
Yes, so it's so the Africa Prize maybe is a slightly misleading name, but it's a prize and a program. So it's an 8-month commercialization program. You have your core trainings, and then you have incredibly tailored product development support and business development support from mentors based across Africa, but also from the Academy's International Fellowship, which are engineers who are at the top of their field in whatever kind of discipline that may be. So yeah, you have the 2 in-person weeks, the one at the beginning, which is in London, and then at the end, a big final event, which is a huge celebration of engineering innovation everywhere. And the winner is awarded £25,000. So Anatoly is one of our most recent winners. The 3 runners-up, £10,000 each, and there's also an audience vote for £5,000 as well. and this year's our 10th year, so it's going to be bigger and better than previous years. So I'm really excited, and I hope we can see more Ugandans applying for the prize.
All right. Turning to Anatoly here, tell us your side of this engagement, how you actually got into the Africa Prize of Engineering, the rigorous criteria that you had to go through, and then thereafter, what was your experience and your learning points through the 8 months program leading to the awarding ceremony?
Wow, it's a journey that is unexplainable. It's been amazing, but if you had to remember something, it's been a world process of growth, like rapid growth for our company. And I think we started by last year, in November, when we traveled to London. We had very intense 2 weeks training where they wanted to understand our weaknesses, because again, this is an engineering prize, but ideally focusing on how you can commercialize. You've understood, you know very well that in Uganda we have a lot of people, they say innovators, but literally their products die without even seeing commercialization. And it was a very interesting way to understand where we stand when we went to London, what kind of help do we need, and what kind of targets can we set for ourselves for the 8 months program. And that really was a concentration point for our company, because I represent the company, but I would involve most of my teams to actually guide me and also fill in to the knowledge that I was getting. And after that, we are connected to, like she said, to very, very experienced and skilled mentors across the world, people that have done these things before, that have succeeded before us. And it was very important that we speak to people that have actually understood this. And our own requirement was to be disciplined, listen to what they're telling us, and actually implement them after they have actually taught us a lot of that. And it's been going on for about, went on for 8 months, but I can tell you, even before the prize, most people are thinking of, oh, you've been awarded the prize money, but I can assure you that we had actually started benefiting from the prize or the training even before the final
the
stages.
money came.
Yeah, because
but the money came, £25,000.
Still nice.
Yeah, it's still,
exactly.
it's still nice.
Good money, Anatoly.
But if I tell you,
let's first talk about that money and how it has transformed Yunga Technologies.
Yeah, very interesting. That money is transforming Yunga Technology in a way that you've heard there's 1,000, 12,000 people that are connected onto the Yunga network, but now we know that this money is going to give us an opportunity to empower an additional 3,000 homes within the central here, to make sure that they can also potentially be included within the safety kind of mindset that many of Ugandans, you know, cannot afford. You know that the alternatives are extremely very expensive. The traditional systems that are being brought and shipped from other markets are extraordinarily very expensive, though are offering really less value than what we are doing. So we will be sure that this money is going to help us to see that a number of people, which are almost, by the way, we are focusing on also human-led households, because we've seen over time from our customers that they are the ones that are being taken advantage of because there are no men in the house. And then this tool is really intended to give proper consideration for these homes. We'll see discounts coming up. We'll see very many people being included into the safety net of the Yunga safety. Yeah.
Okay, turning to you, Alice, let's talk about technological innovation and adaptation here in Uganda. From your assessment, do you feel that people are actually progressive and responsive to technological advancement in doing their day-to-day life, such as security?
So I'm not an engineer personally, but I think the innovations that come through the Africa Prize, as I was saying, they're local solutions to local opportunities and challenges. So being able to use those kind of new technological advances, you know, I know Yunga has kind of combined that element with kind of traditional kind of the groups of 10 houses in Uganda as well. So I think there's definitely been an increase in kind of combining traditional and kind of modern techniques across all of the different kind of types of innovations that we have.
All right, so if people want to apply to the award, how do they do it?
So it's an application form which is accessible by the Africa Prize for Engineering Innovation website. If you type Africa Prize, how to apply into Google, we should pop up there at the top, or even Royal Academy of Engineering. As I mentioned, applications close next week on the 25th of July. So it's quite short notice to do an application, but I can guarantee most people do it in the last few days.
Once ready, ever ready.
Exactly. And just in particular to women entrepreneurs out there, you know, really encourage you to apply. It'd be really fantastic to see more women on the 16 members of the shortlist. And just a final point that to apply for the Africa Prize, you don't need to be an engineer. It just needs to be an engineering innovation. So do not let that put you off. If you have a really great engineering innovation and you don't know how to kind of do the business side of things and get it commercialized and out there having impact, then this is the prize for you, prize and program. So yeah, I would really encourage everyone to apply.
Okay, all right. And Yunga Technologies, how can people subscribe to your technology services?
Yeah, so people can subscribe to our technology by reaching out to us on our website, which is Yunga Tech UG. But also on our social media, when you type Yunga, you'll definitely get a glitch of us, or you could actually reach us to our office in Chwatule and Mount Olive Mall, and then we'll also have a discussion.
Okay, all right. Myself, I'm looking forward to hosting the next winner that will be coming from Uganda. I prophesy through the Royal Academy of Engineering Africa Prize for Engineering Innovation this time next year, hopefully, after they've gone through the 8-month program. So do make sure that if you do have an innovation, or you know someone who is very innovative in engineering, encourage them to sign up, and together technology can be used to actually advance our day-to-day life, social and economic development. That brings us to the end of our Tech Note. In our Kickstarter, we're going to be talking about cut, also known as Mira, also known as marijuana, medicino. How far is medicino? What is medicino and not medicino? With Chris again, you in return.